أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه وسلم. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Inshallah, you are all well. I'll be making some videos, inshallah, and I'll be posting them as reminders and inshallah to pass some messages and some information. Okay, so do we sometimes think uh, our lives is occupied with work, uh, with family? Uh, we eat, we sleep, and this vicious cycle is just going round and round. And we may forget what our purpose in life is. For example, currently we are in the winter season, Christmas approaching, a lot of the Christians are looking forward to this. And sometimes we as Muslims who are born in this country and we've actually gone through the schools and coming towards that Christmas term, we should be young, we should look forward to the movies. We used to have the papers, so we take the paper out and just to see what movie was coming on which channel. We used to have about a few channels at that time as well. So yeah, like I said, it's cold at the moment. After work, perhaps we'll be hibernating. And like I said, we may forget what our purpose and objective in this life is. And it's quite easy, living in the West. Also, I visited back home recently as well. There was a time where there was a lot of families and friends who used to come and spend time with us. But while I was there, I realized that, a lot of people, I only saw them a couple of times, and, they're just occupied with work, education, etc. And, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has told us what our purpose in this dunya is. Allah mentions to us in the Quran, وَمَا خَلَقْتُ الْجِنَّ وَالْإِنسَ إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُونَ. Allah says that He has created man and jinn only for one purpose, and that purpose is for ibadah, to worship Him. Now, ibadah is a very big topic, and it is not just salah or just a dhikr, but anything that is linked back to our deen. So, for example, being dutiful to our parents, this is a great action, and this is worship, it's ibadah. Or eating our food with our right hand, this is also worship as well. And anything that is linked back to the deen, this is ibadah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions to us this, and the Prophet alayhi salatu wassalam. So, for us living in the UK, is our purpose just to work and make a better life for ourselves? When we link it back to this ayah where Allah says that He's created man and jinn only for one purpose, is to worship Him. Now, the ulama, the classical scholars, this is going back centuries and perhaps even a millennium, they have said that if as a Muslim you are living in Dar al-Kufr, which is the land of the non-believers, alhamdulillah, then they have given two excuses that why you could be residing there or settled there. So the first reason that the ulama have said is that if you are doing tijara, if you are doing business on a temporary basis, then you can be in Darul Kufr, the land of non-believers. And the second excuse they have given is that if you are there in Darul Kufr, in the land of the non-believers, then and you are settled there, you're living there, and it's not on a temporary basis, then the only excuse you have from the Shari'ah is that you are engaged in da'wah. So you are actively involved in da'wah and reminding the non-Muslims or speaking to them about Islam with hikmah, with wisdom. And if there is Muslims who are also living in Darul Kufr and they're residing there, alhamdulillah, pardon me, then you must be giving them nasiha as well. Some might say that, I've heard this before, some might say that if you do not like it here in the West, in UK or France, America, etc., then go back to your own lands. two things for that. First thing is that uh, we were born and bred here, so we are British, and ethnically, yes, we are either Pakistani, Bangladeshi, Indian, etc. That's another discussion itself, because my grandfather, he was an Indian, and then the partition happened, and then he became Pakistani, and then just before when he passed away, he was Bangladeshi. That itself is another discussion. Okay, going back to our own lands, there is nowhere where is Darul Islam. Everywhere is Darul Kufr at the moment, or some ulama use the term Darul Harb. Uh, Actually, Darul Harb is used more than Darul Kufr. So we don't have Darul Islam. So Bangladesh, Pakistan, they are Darul Kufr. Yes, the majority are there, 90+% is Muslims, but the land, how do they categorize a land being Darul Kufr or Darul Islam? Is by the ruling system. So, as example, Imam Abu Hanifa, rahimullah, may Allah be pleased with him, he said that if a land has majority non-Muslims uh, and has a minority Muslims, but the power and the authority and the rule is with the Muslims, and they're ruling by Sharia, then this is Darul Islam. As an example, Medina al Munawwara, the Prophet ﷺ, we know that the majority of the population there was non-Muslims. So we had many tribes from Al Yahud, and the Muslims were minority, but the authority was with the Muslims, and the Prophet ﷺ obviously was the Prophet of that time, and he was the statesman. Okay, so those are a couple of things. So if we're living in the West, then we must be engaged in da'wah from the classical source. And sometimes, we get caught up in this rat race, and it becomes a vicious cycle. Like I said, work, sleep, family, may go on a vacation, etc., etc.